Welcome to a special late night edition of Stretching and Strengthening with me, ZGALA, aka Ant Angel. It's late, did I say that already? And I'm tired, but I'm keeping my agreements with myself and my body and thought I would invite you to join me to whatever degree feels good in your body. I like to remind everybody there's not one way to check in with yourself. There are many right ways and many wrong ways. And the idea here is just to aim for a little bit better, learn to develop a healthier, more loving relationship with yourself by listening and speaking nicely to yourself. I'm speaking to myself by speaking to you. That's what we do. Anyway, as you saw, I'm doing some stretches on the arms here. They're pretty stiff. I've been doing a lot of desk work. Seems I can't get out of stiff arms no matter whether I do hard work or soft work. Stretching is in order, so let's do some circles. In fact, let's do medium circles today, putting the hands on the shoulders, and then circling those elbows. You can touch them in front if you can. Let's breathe in on the way up. And then the other way. See if you can touch them in back. I imagine there are people who can, but I don't know any. Let's shake that out. Let's do some hand circles. Those are medium circles, some little circles. We'll see if we can come up with some large circles to even it all out. Just checking in with the body here, doing a little easy stretching, a little warming up, a little listening. Shake that out. Let's do big slow circles, sort of pseudo circles with some back, some clasping hands behind back, and then rolling those elbows and shoulders towards each other. Trying to stay in frame there, but I don't think I'm doing a very good job. And I'm gonna bend forward. So I'm gonna make like half a circle or a third of a circle. I don't think that's quite a third, maybe. Let's go the other way now, back bending, and then stretching forward from the hips. Scooch this over here, and maybe you can see me better. Let's try that again from the back. Rolling those shoulder blades together, rolling the elbows towards each other, point those fingers, and then rolling forward, actually rounding forward, lifting those arms, getting a nice stretch. Rounding the forehead toward the knees, and then coming back down to neutral, releasing that. And this time I'm gonna stretch out over the toes and up and around, arching the back to around the same place. I'm aware that's not quite the same place, but again, we're just aiming for close. Let's do one more of those. Arms will tolerate it. And I keep it a little bit easier this time because I get a lot of numbness in those arms. Let's do a little stretching to one side, stretching to the other side, and rounding down. And then releasing that. Actually going to do a little counter stretch in there first. And then forward folding over those legs. Let's do a nice slower stretch over the legs. And then reaching out as far as you can, past the toes or toward the toes. And up, arching the back. And coming back to neutral. Shake out the legs, shake out the arms, shake out the shoulders. Let's do a little more forward folding while we're here. It's chilly tonight. We're getting down below freezing. I've been chilly for a couple days. I think I can take that off. Again, I'm bending from the hips and later rounding from the waist, but at first bending from the hips, aiming my chin toward my toes. You can pull back on those toes a little bit. Let's just give that a nice slow 3-breath release, releasing a little bit more on each exhale. Deep breath in and then releasing a little bit more. Breathing in and just a little bit more. And then rounding the spine, aiming that chin toward knees. And come back up, shake those out. I'm going to take the left leg up toward the groin into a single-legged forward fold. I can't quite see that, but pressing this knee down toward the floor, forward folding over that one leg, opening this hip here, still aiming to push that knee toward the floor. Let's give that 3 breaths as well. Breathing in and again, exhaling. And one more in and exhale and rounding down. And coming on up. Let's add a little spinal twist to that. Looking behind the body. And switching legs, bringing this other leg in close to the groin, squaring these hips, and forward folding over that front leg while pressing this opposite knee down toward the floor. Pull back in that toe if you like a little more stretch. And if that's too much for you, you can go less deep. That's all fine. The idea is to get to where it feels like a good stretch for you. And then breathing in and stretch a little bit deeper into that. And again, breathing in. And releasing, and then one more time, breathing in, and just relax and round down toward the knee. And then rolling up. I'm going to take some twist to the outside, using my hands on my legs and on the floor for torque and support. Noticing how the two sides are different and how they're the same. And as I mentioned, just checking in with the body. There's not one right way or one wrong way. Let's bounce those out. Let's do just a little bit of spinal rolling while I'm here. Just loosening up that spine. Now that I've warmed it up a little bit more. Checking in with it a little more. Do a little balancing here for a little abdominal strengthening. Just balancing on those sits bones or your butt. You can play with where that point of balance is. Moving your legs and your torso. It's a nice exercise for if you're gonna sit and watch the telly or the boob tube, as my mom used to call it. Maybe my grandmother used to call it that. Anybody in your family used to call it that? I'm curious. Or what do you call it? I call it a television or the programming box or TV. But obviously sometimes I call it the boob tube. I just did, didn't I? To clap the palms of my hands on the soles of my feet. Let's flip over and do a little cat-cow for good measure. I like to keep up with my digestive health and my daily stuff, which I sometimes slack on lately, but I'm ever trying to get back on track, and I hope you are too. Starting in a tabletop, and I'm going to exhale into cat. And then inhale into cow or Bittilasana. And exhale into cat, rounding the spine, pushing through the palms, tucking in the tailbone, tucking in the abdomen, squeezing the air out of the lungs, and then breathing in, pressing up through the chest, lifting the eyes, lifting the tailbone, relaxing those feet still pulling up in the abdomen slightly. Breathing in, let's do one more round. Exhale. Squeezing that. And inhaling, lifting. And back to normal or neutral. I'm gonna lift the hips and press into downward facing dog. Pressing down in the heels, back in the hips. Tread those heels a bit. Just checking in with other parts of the body and the body in general, the strength, flexibility. Let's bring those knees down, release the toes, and sliding the hands out into Uttana Shishosana, or extended puppy pose. It feels good on the upper back for me, and the arms and the chest. Nice stretch. Coming back to neutral. I'm going to come up to a squat, Malasana. It's another one I like to do regularly. Pressing down in the heels. I'm going to bring my elbows inside the knees. I'm aware it's a little out of flow and a little hodgepodgey tonight, and that's okay. As I mentioned, there's not one way. The idea is just to show up regularly, or as regularly as you can, and do the best you can with what you got from where you are. And I find that consistency is key. Yes, it's important how much you do and how hard you try, but really it's about having that habit of showing up regularly for yourself. 'Cause sometimes you're more tired, or sometimes you don't feel as good, or sometimes stuff happens in life. But if you show up for yourself, no matter what, at least a little bit, sometimes a little bit more, at least a little bit, sometimes a little bit harder, then over time, well, that adds up to not as much, right? Yeah, know what I mean? Anyway, let me know what you think of all of that, or any of that. I hope you're remembering to take good care of you and your body, because you're worth it, and it's the one thing you can't live without. I thank you for being you and letting me be me. Thank you for stopping by. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out the description if you want to find ways of connecting with me and supporting me, and thank you if you do. As always, stay curious, stay courageous, stay fit, and stay free. Ciao for now.